Welcome to our morning service for Yom Kippur. We're so delighted you're here with us, and we're so happy to see our congregation here this morning. For some of you, our prayer book is entirely new, and so give me just a second to introduce you to Mishkan HaNefesh, our sanctuary of the soul. And you can do so, friends, as we begin our Yom Kippur morning service. If you turn to 128 and 129, you'll see that this book, unlike any prayer book you have used maybe since you were children, it has art in it. These are woodcuts by an artist named Joel Shapiro. There are three kinds of pages in our book. There's a white page, a regular-looking page that will have on it Hebrew, next to it the transliteration, and underneath it the translation of the Hebrew passage. And often there will be a line at the bottom of the page and a note down below. It might be a rabbinic commentary, it might be a quote from the Talmud, it might be a modern explanation about something in our prayer. If you skip a few pages, you'll come across a page that looks like it's all gray. The gray pages are sometimes paraphrases, sometimes they're modern poetry, sometimes it might be a thought from a medieval commentator that was a piyut or a poem that we are bringing back to the prayer book. Sometimes those complementary pages will be things we look at in silence, or we may choose to read them. Then, through these pages, we also have blue pages. The blue pages are longer notes and commentary. They have the opportunity for us to gain a little bit more knowledge about what our prayer is, maybe some deeper meaning, maybe an iyun, something that we really look at in a bit more detail. We are very, very grateful to all the donors who have endowed books and who have set aside that opportunity to remember their loved ones or to honor their loved ones by making contributions for these books. We want to thank especially our two lead donors for the books for our congregation, Ivan and Deborah Kallick, who we thank publicly on Rosh Hashanah, and I want to thank publicly Adam and Emily Bold and give you a set of these books for your generous contribution. And now, friends, let's begin. Page 135. We stand this day, all of us, in the presence of our God. Youth and elders, women and men, those close to tradition and those who have been estranged, all are welcome at University Synagogue in our house of prayer. Around the world, all Israel greets this holy day. We stand with them, a people united by our history and fate, linked in mind and heart to generations past, who stood before God to be cleansed of their sins in Russia, Poland, Germany, and Spain, in Morocco, Egypt, Brazil, and India. Our great-grandparents are here with us today, and our great-great-grandchildren as well. All are present in memory and hope. We stand this sacred morning, all of us, as one. I invite you, friends, to turn to the top of 136 and take just a second to meditate on this reading on the top of the page called "The Fast We Choose." We praise you, Adonai, whose mitzvot are paths of holiness. You give us the mitzvah of fasting on this holy day. We turn, friends, to page 140 at the bottom. Would you join me in reading? God is my light and my refuge secure. Whom shall I fear? God is the stronghold of my life. Of whom should I be afraid? Just one thing I have asked of God, only this do I seek, to dwell in God's house all the days of my life, to behold divine sweetness and beauty, and to gaze in delight at God's temple. We turn, friends, to 170. Page 173.
המלך יושב על כיסא רם ונישא שוכן על מרום וקדוש שמו וכתוב רננו צדיקים באדוני לישרים נבות תהילה.
We rise together on page 178 for our Baruch Hu.
Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach.
Before we continue our reading in the middle of page 181, let us pause for a moment and take in that deep breath of hope and possibility that this day brings for us, the promise for change and the promise for teshuvah. Let's bring in a breath on this beautiful morning. Let's center ourselves and bring ourselves to this beautiful place. Like an unbroken current, energy streams from the source, bathing the planet in light, calling forth life, movement, mind, unfolding from matter, the power to love. And we offer it back to you, our own creative energy, ever dreaming and building, shaping patterns out of chaos, searching out light in the darkness. Creation never ceases, not for an instant. All life is aglow with your light. All things draw sustenance from the source. Baruch atah Adonai Yotzer HaMe'orot. Our praise to you, Adonai, creator of the lights of heaven. We turn together to the top of page 183, and we offer these words as one community. You love us by helping us grow. You give us Torah, a ladder for the soul, words that draw us upward, every mitzvah an invitation to climb, forge and kiln and crucible to purify our hearts. You give us Torah. You love us by helping us grow. We turn together, page 186 and 187, for the words of our Shema.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
You may be seated as we continue as one congregation, the words of our Ve'ahavta that can be found on page 188 and then continue on page 191.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בהם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם לאותה ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
And I turned off the
We
volume.
continue praying responsively as one community as we turn to page 193.
Breathe, something will move.
Emet ve'yatziv, true and enduring, all else is fluid, impermanent, fleeting. Sur chayenu mageni shenu, rock of our lives, our shield and our protector. You are the constant abiding through time.
The rock whose works speak of wholeness and justice.
From the ends of the earth, from the depths of despair, we call with the psalmist to our fortress and refuge, lead me to the rock that is higher than I.
Our rock and salvation, our shelter and strength, grounded in you, we shall never be shaken.
The towers of cities will crumble with age, and iron corrodes and decays into rust.
Echo from Sinai are true and enduring. Forever they stand.
We turn to page 196. We recall the freedom of our ancestors, and we pray for the freedom for all humankind as we sing Mi Chamocha 196. Mi Chamocha ba'elim Adonai, Mi Chamocha ne'edarot kodesh,
Israel, ופדייכם עמך יהודה וישראל, כהלנו אדוני צבאות שמו, קדוש ישראל. ברוך אתה אדוני, קהל ישראל.
So while we pray here in our sanctuary, we're really delighted that we have a youth service, an innovation for our congregation. So our 4th through 7th graders are upstairs in room 307, service led by our rabbinic intern, Lynette Herzog, our director of Jewish education, Jesse Downey, and our wonderful song leader, and the guy who kind of married into the congregation by marrying Rala Rubin's granddaughter, Sarah, and that's Dave Cohn, a very wonderful, noted song leader and musician who's now at Hebrew Union College. So we turn, friends, as our students upstairs are praying, so shall we. Our next pages are 198, 200, and 202. We're going to flip right one into the other so we don't interrupt the prayer as we turn now to the beginning of our tefillah, 198, 200, 202. Let all who are able please rise.
חסדים טובים וקונה הכל וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם למען שמו באהבה. Moshiach u'magen Baruch atah Adonai magen Avraham ve'ezrat Sarah.
On 204. Join me, please, at the bottom of the page. Your life-giving power is forever, Adonai, with us in life and in death. You liberate and save, cause dew to descend, and with mercy abundant, lovingly nurture all life. From life to death, you are the force that flows without end. You support the falling, heal the sick, free the imprisoned and confined. You are faithful even to those who rest in the dust. Power beyond power, from whom salvation springs, sovereign over life and death, who is like you? Merciful God, who compares with you? With tender compassion, you remember all creatures for life. Faithful and true, worthy of our trust, you sustain our immortal yearnings. In you we place our undying hopes. Wellspring of blessing, power eternal, you are the one who gives and renews all life. Friends, you may be seated as we turn to 209. We're going to take an opportunity before Unatana Tokef to reflect silently on the words on 209 and interpretation, and in a sense, a way for us to prepare for the power of the Unatana Tokef. So after we reflect on the left 209, on the right side, we'll continue with the music of Unatana Tokef.
ודתני תוקף קדושת היום, כי הוא נורא להיום, ובו תנשא מלכותך, מכל חסד כיסך, מתישב עליו באמת, ותישב עליו באמת. אמת, כי אתה הוא דיין ומוכיח ויודע ואין. אמת, כי אתה הוא דיין ומוכיח ויודע ועד.
תזכור כל הנשכחות,
ובשופר גדול ייתקע,
ובשופר גדול ייתקע,
וכל דממה דקה יישמע.
ומלאכים יחפשו,
כי לא
212. On Rosh Hashanah it is written, and on the fast of Yom Kippur, this is sealed. On 215, in the middle of the page, please respond. When we walk through a valley of darkness but find courage to live in the shadow of pain. When we speak about fear with honesty and share what is hardest to say. When day becomes night but we let ourselves hope. When we feel far from caring and friendship but let go of pride to ask for help. When in grief we are crushed by the absence of love, but open ourselves to your presence. We turn, friends, to our Kedusha, page 218. Let us rise.
שמקדישים אותו בשמי מרום,
ככתוב
על
יד נביאיך,
וקרא זה אל זה ואמר,
קדוש, 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 אדוני צבאות, מלוך כל הארץ תהום.
אדיר אדירנו, אדוני אדוני אדוננו, מה אדיר שמך מכל הארץ. אחד הוא אלוהינו, הוא אבינו, הוא מלכנו, הוא מושיענו, והוא ישמיענו ברחמיו לעיני כל חי.
Friends, you may be seated as we turn together to page 223. I like to call this gray page the science page. You have Richard Feynman at the top and Albert Einstein at the bottom. Not a bad combination. Let's read together at the bottom. To be awake is to be alive. Only that day dawns to which we are awake. One cannot help but be in awe when one contemplates the mysteries of eternity, of life, of the marvelous structure of reality. It is enough if one tries merely to comprehend a little of this mystery every day. Never lose a holy curiosity. Wisdom begins with awe of the eternal. So we're going to do a little experiment here. I'd invite you to turn from 231 to 244 and wander. Wander with your eyes, wander with your heart, reflect silently as you find something to hold on to here. 231 to 244. Take a moment of your own time for introspection and private prayer. The middle of page 244. Our God, divine presence, whose path our ancestors walked, bless us now with the words first bestowed on Israel at the time of Moses and Aaron, the threefold blessing, Habrucha Meshuleshet, given us through Torah, that joins our hopes with theirs. to our prayer for peace, friends, page 246. Take a moment of silence, friends, page 248 and 249. Page 252. I invite all who are able to please rise as we open the ark and turn to Avinu Malkeinu.
Avinu Malkeinu, Shema Koleinu. Avinu Malkeinu, Chatanu lefanecha. Avinu Malkeinu, Chamol aleinu, Me'al aleinu, V'tabinu. Avinu Malkeinu, Avinu Malkeinu, Otenu beSefer Chaim Tovim. Avinu
On the bottom of 253, let's join together in singing our folk version of Avinu Malkeinu. Avinu Malkeinu, Avinu Malkeinu, Avinu Malkeinu, Hanenu v'hanenu, ki ein banu ma'asim, aseh imanu, tzedakah v'chesed, aseh imanu, tzedakah v'chesed, ve'hoshienu, Avinu Malkeinu. Our service for the reading of Torah begins on 256.
Thank you.
Adonai, God compassionate, gracious, endlessly patient, loving and true, showing mercy to the 1000th generation, forgiving evil, defiance, and wrongdoing, and granting pardon.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Lech Adonai Hagedula, Hagedula, Hatiferet, Ve'hanetzach Ve'hahod, Ki kol bashamayim u'ba'aretz, Ki kol bashamayim u'ba'aretz, Lech Adonai Hagmach lecha, Ve'amid aseh lechol rosh. רוממו אדוני אלוהינו והשתחוו להר קודשו. רוממו אדוני אלוהינו והשתחוו להר קודשו. כי קדוש אדוני אלוהינו רוממו. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romemu. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu ve'hishtachvu lehar kodsho. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu ve'hishtachvu lehar kodsho. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romemu. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romemu. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu ve'hishtachvu lehar kodsho. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu ve'hishtachvu lehar kodsho. Al shlosha devarim, al shlosha devarim, al shlosha devarim, haolam omer. Al shlosha devarim, al shlosha devarim, al shlosha devarim, haolam omer. תצא תורה, ודבר אדוני מירושלים. כי מציון תצא תורה, ודבר אדוני מירושלים. כי מציון תצא תורה, ודבר אדוני מירושלים. כי מציון תצא תורה, ודבר אדוני מירושלים. ברוך שנתן תורה לעמו ישראל. ברוך שנתן תורה לעמו ישראל. בקדושתו מציון תצא תורה, ודבר אדוני מירושלים. כי מציון תצא תורה, ודבר אדוני מירושלים. כי מציון תצא תורה, ודבר אדוני מירושלים. כי מציון תצא תורה, ודבר אדוני מירושלים. ישראל והורדת בקודש אמריקה, עדו ישראל והורדת בקודש אמריקה, עדו תורה, הללויה. תורה, הללויה. Alleluia, Torah, Alleluia. Torah, Alleluia. Israel, they are right, David Kodesh Averich, Israel, they are right, David Kodesh Averich,
We're not going to put Cantor Freilich in the ark. Friends, we're going to invite all our Torah readers to come forward at this time. Adash Shur, Jeanette Mills, Cole Hine, Neil Morgan-Besser, and Joshua Wagner. And for our first Aliyah, we invite forward the trustees and officers of University Synagogue. Yamdu kol balei batim. Don't fight. Go. Stand up there. Go, 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 go. Take the far side.
Rabbi Feinstein?
I don't think we told Nitzavim here. I don't think this is Nitzavim. You get the right one? No. This is Kiddushin. This is Kiddushin. Okay.
Once upon a time, there were many Torah scrolls, and some were set to Deuteronomy for the afternoon, and some were set to Leviticus 19 for the morning. And don't tell anyone that we switched them just for you. Okay.
They're both rolled to Kiddushin. Someone can roll them.
This is Nitzavim. Who says on Yom Kippur you can't make a mistake and apologize?
No, I think we're okay now.
Whoever reads.
Ready? Baruch Hu et Adonai Hamvarach.
Baruch Adonai Habarach.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Asher bachar banu mikol hamim. V'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai Noten HaTorah.
אמן. אתם ניצבים היום כולכם לפני אדוני אלוהיכם, ראשיכם, שופטיכם, זקניכם ושוטריכם, כל איש ישראל. טפכם נשיכם וגרך אשר בקרב מחניך, מכותב עציך עד שואב ממך, לעברך בברית אדוני אלוהיך ובעלתו אשר אדוני אלוהיך כורת עמך היום.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torah emet, v'chayei olam nata b'tocheinu. Baruch atah Adonai noten HaTorah. Amen.
We invite forward our recent B'nai Mitzvah since last year's High Holy Days or thereabouts to join us for our second Aliyah. Baruch Adonai Habarach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim. V'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten HaTorah.
Amen.
למען הקימותך היום לעולם, והוא יחיה לך לאלוהים כאשר דיבר לך, וכאשר נשבע לאבותיך, לאברהם, ליצחק וליעקב. ולא ייתכם לבדכם, אנוכי כורת את הברית הזאת ואת ההלכה הזאת, כי את אשר ישנו פה עמנו עומד היום לפני אדוני אלוהינו, ואת אשר איננו פה עמנו היום.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torah emet, v'chayei olam nata b'tocheinu. Baruch atah Adonai noten HaTorah.
Amen. So this is a special day. This is a special day. Some of you may know One of our landsmen about 50 years ago decided not to pitch on this very day, 50 years ago today. And because of that, we're going to have our softball team come up for our next Aliyah. We have two softball teams, and none of them are playing today. Now, some of our softball team members came for our early family service, and I promise you that when they're playing, they actually have uniforms, and they look like they're fine members of University Synagogue. Dressed in suits, they never are for the games. Very good. Hey, Jeff. Hi. Baruch Adonai HaBarach Leolam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamelech Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam Asher Bachar Banu Mikol Ha'amim V'natan Lanu Et Torato Baruch Atah Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen.
Amen. Ki hamitzvah hazot asher anochi metzavecha hayom lo nifleti mimecha velo rechoka hi lo vashamayim hi lemor mi ya'ale lanu hashamayma hikaecha lanu v'yashminu ota v'nasena v'lo me'ever layam hi lemor mi ya'avar lanu el ever hayam v'yikaecha lanu v'yashminu ota v'nasena ki karov elecha hadavar me'od beficha uvilvavecha lasoto.
Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam Asher Natan Lanu Torah Emet V'Chayei Olam Nata B'Tochenu Baruch Atah Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen. So if you'd like to play like Sandy Koufax the other days of the year, you're welcome to call Todd Gelfand or Jody Francisco, who are the team captains, and we'll be happy to include you. We're going to invite forward our ushers and honor all of them at this time. So if you have ushered throughout the High Holy Days or are planning on ushering this afternoon, please join us now. Baruch Adonai HaBarach Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam Asher Bachar Banu Mikol Ha'amim V'natan Lanu Et Torato Baruch Atah Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen. Re'ed natati lefanecha hayom et hachayim v'et hatov v'et hamavet v'et hara asher anochi netzavecha hayom li'ahava et Adonai Elohecha Lalechet bidrachav v'lishmor mitzvotav v'chukotav umishpatav v'chayita v'ravita, uverachecha Adonai Elohecha ba'aretz, asher ata v'ashama l'rishta, v'im yifnei levavecha v'lo tishma, v'nidachta v'hishtachavita l'Elohim acherim v'avadetam.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torat emet, v'chayei olam nota b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai, noten haTorah.
Amen. As we thank Barry Sykov and this wonderful corps of ushers, we invite forward anyone who's been to Israel in the last year to join for our 5th Aliyah.
Thank you, Neil.
Absolutely. Where are you going? Get your wife up here.
Okay.
Adonai Hamvarach.
Baruch Adonai Hamorach Elam Vaed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach Leolam Vaed. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bachar banu mikol hamim, v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai, noten haTorah.
Amen.
Amen. Higadati lahem hayom, ki avo tovedun, lotarihun yamim al hadama, asher ata over et hayardain, lava shama yivrista, haidoti vahem hayom, et hashamayim v'yet haaretz hachayim v'hamavet natati lefaneha habraha v'hakalala uvihabarta b'chayim aman tikiev ata bezoreha le'ahava et Adonai Elohecha lishmoa b'kolo u'etav kavo ki hu hayeka veyorek yameka lashevet al hadama asher nishba Adonai lavoteha l'Abraham leItzak veYakov late lahem.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torat emet, v'chayei olam nota b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai, noten haTorah.
We're going to invite you all to please rise, for this is the Torah which Moses read before the Jewish people to fulfill the word of God.
Ezot haTorah asher sam Moshe lifnei bnei
You may all be seated as Maggie Lena and Jesse Downey come forward to lead us in our Haftarah. We're going to turn, friends, before the Haftarah begins, to our Mishaberach. We think of all those who may be in need of healing. We offer our support to them this afternoon. If any of you have had illness during this last year, we will invite you to come before the ark here and have a Mishaberach here on the bima. That will be during our afternoon service. May the knowledge of your love, O God, as well as our love, give added hope to all those we know who are ill and to their dear ones. May they find even greater strength in the assurance that our prayers are linked with theirs. If you know of someone who is ill, please feel comfortable in mentioning his or her name at this time. Sandy Barton, Hudson Pugal, Joan Becker, Carol Brook, Gail Dowdy, Marilyn Adder, Howard Goldstein, Felix Aquino, Reba Block, Rala Rubin, Richard Lobenthal. We hold all their names in our hearts, friends, as well as those names that remain within us as we turn to our Mishaberach. Friends, you may turn for the blessings before the Haftarah on 275, and the reading from Isaiah 58 follows on 277.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bahar binvim tovim v'ratzav v'divreihem hane'emarim be'emet. Baruch atah Adonai habocher b'Torah u'v'Moshe avdo u'v'Yisrael emo u'v'nvi'ei ha'emet v'tzedek. Amen.
Kara v'garon al tachshoch kashofar harim kolecha v'hageh la'mi pish'am ulvi Beit Yaakov chatotam ve'oti yom yom yidroshon ve'dat derachai yechbatsun kegoy asher tzedakah asa umishpat Elohav lo azav yishaluni mishpatei tzedek kirvat Elohim yechbatsun lama tzamnu velo ra'iti ininu nafshenu velo teda hein bayom tzomchem timsmeu chefetz vechol atzavechem tingoshu hein lariv umatzah tatsumu ulhakot begrof resha lo tatsumu chayom lehashmiya b'marom kolchem hachazeh yiyetzom evcharehu yom anot adam nafsho hachalok egmon rosho v'sag v'fer yatzia hahazeh tikreu chtzom ve'yom ratzom ladonai.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam tzur kol ha'olamim tzadik b'kol hadorot ha'el ne'eman ha'omer ve'oseh ha'medaber mekayem shekol devarav emet v'tzedek al ha'torah ve'al ha'avodah ve'al ha'nevim ve'al yom ha'kippurim hazeh shenatat lanu Adonai Eloheinu limechila v'leslacha ul'haparah lehavod u'letifaret al hakol Adonai Eloheinu anachnu modim lach u'mvarchim otach yitbarach shemcha b'fei kol hai tadmi le'olam va'ed u'dvarach emet v'kayam le'ad Baruch atah Adonai melech mochel v'soleach l'honotenu v'lo damo ben Yisrael u'ma'avir shmotenu b'chol shana v'shana melech ha'kol ha'aretz mekadesh Yisrael v'yom ha'kippurim.
We're going to turn, friends, to 290. Let us rise as we return the Torah to the ark. Yahalelu et Shem Adonai ki nisgav shmo levado. All praise God's name, for God's name alone is truly sublime.
Hallelujah.
There is a Hasidic tale in which a rabbi teaches his students that God created everything in the world to be appreciated, since everything is here to teach us a lesson. One clever student raised his hand and asked, "What lesson can we learn from the atheists? Why did God create them?" The rabbi smiled. God created the atheist to teach us the most important lesson of them all, the lesson of true compassion. You see, when an atheist helps someone, taught the rabbi, when they help someone in need, when they care for the world, he does not do so because God commanded him to perform this act. In fact, he does not believe in God at all. He performs this act because something inside his soul commanded him to do so. And look at the kindness he can bestow upon all humankind. This means, the rabbi taught, that when someone reaches out for you for help, you should never say, "I pray that God will help you." Instead, my students, for that moment, become an atheist. Act as if there is no God. Reach out your hand and say, "I will help you." What better way to respond to life in this coming year than to reach out our hands and say, "I will help you"? In just a few weeks from now, we will read the Torah. We will open up to the Torah portion of Noah. During his time, the earth was filled with sinfulness. And rather than seeking repentance, God seeks to start anew by saving Noah and his family through the building of the ark, while the rest of humanity drowns. We turn and turn these words each year, and we not only read of the great flood, but we read of the great failure. Rabbi Jonathan Sachs taught us that Noah's failure was not that he did not build the ark perfectly. In fact, he did. Noah failed because he lacked any impact on humanity. He does not pray for them, does not urge them to mend their ways, does not seek their repentance, nor does he question God like Abraham would do with the people of Sodom and Gomorrah. Noah saves himself, and he allows humanity to perish. "I will help you," taught the rabbi. These words were unknown to Noah during his time, but will they be unknown to us in this year to come? As the earth floods with injustice, will we build an ark for ourselves, or will we build an ark for others and offer these gentle words, "I will help you"? We are flooded with racial inequality, and we need to build an ark wide enough for all of God's children to dwell in harmony. We are flooded with income inequality, and we need to build an ark wide enough for all who are hungry and in need of shelter to dwell. We are simply flooded, and we need to build an ark wide enough and smart enough to right the wrongs we have done to our environment. We are flooded with a refugee crisis in this world, and we need to build an ark to carry men, women, and children across the wretched sea to freedom. And when they have made that journey, we must continue to build for them. We must build for safety, and we must build for compassion. We must build for others. We must build bridges to mend the brokenness and allow others to cross to safety. We must build for hope, not for fear, and we must have an impact on humanity. Our ancestors fought, they suffered, and they died to keep our tradition of justice and equality alive throughout the ages. And now, in our great moment of freedom, we must continue to build for their honor. We must build an ark of justice that will last for the ages. People are hungry in our streets, and they are dying on our sand, and we have the moral obligation to build arks for all of God's children, for all of their protection. As people of faith, we have the unique ability to bring moral clarity to complex situations. We have the opportunity to depoliticize issues and bring the focus back to the ones who truly need it, to those cold and tired and broken eyes. We must stand up today and we must say, "I will help you." We must transform this house of worship into a house of justice. Because when lives become numbers, when tragedy is politicized, and when our communities become polarized, then we have diminished our capacity for compassion, and the circumference of our care shrinks. When a child lay on the street hungry and cold, and our hearts are not broken open, then we have diminished our capacity for compassion. When men and women are gunned down in the streets and we fail to act, then we have diminished our capacity for compassion. When the body of a boy lays face down in the sand, when children's boats are capsized, when the waves of the sea are safer than the land itself, then we know we have gone astray. We must turn back and offer these simple words: I will help you. I must help you. We know what it's like to be left behind. We know what it's like to have the gates of hope and promise slam in our faces. On a day in which we cry out, Pitchu li Sharei Tzedek, open for me the gates of righteousness, will we turn tomorrow and open our gates, or will we keep them closed? Avinu Malkeinu, we call out today. Avinu Malkeinu, our God, our protector, our parent who holds us in the dark and cold night. Let us not see another picture of parents holding their children in their arms only to be turned away. Let us not see another picture of a parent with empty arms on the dark and lonely journey to freedom. We know what it's like to wander and be told no entry. Will we extend that brutality to others, or will we say, I will help you? Let us open our hearts and let us open our gates. Let us open them for all who seek a better life. Let us open our hearts and let us open our gates because far too many close them for us. Let us open our hearts and let us open our gates for our ancestors in Egypt, for the ones who stepped foot into the sea, for the ones who wandered the desert, and for the ones who suffered in Babylonia, for the ones who were exiled from Spain, and for the ones who escaped Kiev, for our families from Warsaw and Berlin, from Vilna and Prague, for the ones who fled Tehran. Let us open our hearts and gates, and let us say, I will help you. On this day of judgment, let us atone for our personal failings, but let us not stop there. Let us atone for our communal failings, for the times that we sinned because we were silent, the times that we sinned because we were indifferent, the times that we sinned because of our inaction. God will not judge us on the merit of our argument. God will judge us today on the openness of our heart. So let us break our heart open today. Let us rip them open and expand our capacity for compassion. There's a story of an old rabbi who was walking in the marketplace. From vendor to vendor, he would greet them with a simple shalom. Tired and out of breath, he stopped to sit for a while. As he was sitting, he overheard a conversation of two friends. "Do you love me?" asked the one friend. "Yes, I love you," said the other. "Well, do you know what brings me pain?" asked the one friend. Somewhat confused and puzzled, the second friend responded, "How can I know what brings you pain?" From that, the first friend concluded, "If you do not know what brings me pain, then how can you truly love me?" To love, to truly love, is to know the pain of our neighbor. In this coming year, will we have the strength and courage to look into someone's eyes and to say, "I know what causes you pain, and I will help you"? May the sound of the shofar during this season awaken within us the hope that change is possible. After graduating college, Ariella and I answered the call of the shofar, and we traveled to Washington, D.C. to work for the Jewish community. Young, energetic, and full of hope, we sought to change the world with the strength and backing of our faith. Our first assignment was to help organize a rally at the State Department, bringing attention and awareness to the crisis in Darfur. A multi-faith coalition, we came together to address the atrocities. At the rally, we met representatives from the Lost Boys, a term given to some 20,000 Sudanese men who were orphaned through the conflict and journeyed for years by foot to find safe haven and refuge. After hearing their stories, I realized that I sought to bring light into the world, yet I had no idea how dark it truly was. Hearing their stories of terror, of wandering, of loneliness, hearing their stories of pain, I could only think one thing: I will help you. I will help you. Atem nitzavim hayom kulchem lifnei Adonai Elohechem. You stand here today, all of you, before the Lord your God. May these words that we just read today remind us of the diverse beauty of God's children. We all stood together that day, men and women, children and those of ripe age, learned and unlearned, respected and unknown, dark and light skin, gay and straight, secure and wandering, all of God's creation. We read these words today and we are reminded that we enter a year of hope and of promise if we allow our tradition to tear down walls and not build them up. We read these words and we know that we enter a year of hope and of profit if we expand the rights for all and not just some. We enter a year of hope and promise if we recognize all of humanity and not just some. And we enter a year of hope and of promise if we open the gates for all of God's children and let them enter for freedom. Atem nitzavim hayom kolchem. You stand here today, all of you. We might not preach like King, and we might not march like Heschel, but we stand like the men and women of faith who stood before us, seeking a better life for all of humanity. May we be disturbed enough in this year ahead to offer our open hearts to humanity and say these simple words: I will help you. I will help you.
I'm going to ask you to help me by singing these words with me. I'm going to teach them to you. They're just a few short words. Shema, Kolenu, Adonai, Eloheinu. Shema Kolenu, Adonai Eloheinu. Just so you know what you're singing, it's hear our voice, Adonai, our God.
השיבנו, אדוני אליך, אליך ונשובה. חדש ימינו כקדם, שמא גוינו, אדוני אלוהינו, שמא גוינו, אדוני אלוהינו, אל תשליכנו מלבדך, ברוח קודשך, אל תיקח ממנו, אל תשליכנו מלבדך, ברוח קודשך, אל תיקח ממנו, שמא גוינו, אדוני אלוהינו.
Page 293. Because I was angry, because I didn't think, because I was exhausted and on edge, because I'd been drinking, because I can be mean, because I was reckless and selfish.
Because I was worried about money, because my marriage was dead, because other people were doing it, because I thought I could get away with it, because I did something wrong.
Because I'm in pain, because I wish I could undo it, because I hurt him, because I lost her trust, because I let them down, because I was self-destructive.
Because I was foolish, because I'm ashamed, because that's not who I am, because that's not who I want to be, because I want to be forgiven.
God, bring down my walls of defensiveness and self-righteousness. Help me to say in humility, please give me the strength to do what is right.
Let us rise, friends, page 296.
אלוהינו ואלוהי אבותינו ואמותינו, תבוא לפניך תפילתנו, ואל תתעלה
Okay, now you can be seated. We now continue on the bottom of page 296 for our communal confession. I invite you to please place a fist over your heart as we communally, as I said, confess all together, even if we did do the sin, even if we didn't do the sin. And we beat our fist against our chest for each sin. We continue on page 300. We will now begin the long confession. I will read the Hebrew. Please respond in the English. Al chet shechatanu lefanecha ba'ones uvratzon, v'al chet shechatanu lefanecha b'yodim uvlo yodim.
The ways we have wronged you under duress and by choice, and harm we have caused in your world consciously and unconsciously.
Al chet shechatanu lefanecha bivli dat, v'al chet shechatanu lefanecha beritzat raglaim lahara.
The ways we have wronged you through our thoughtlessness, and harm we have caused in your world through impulsive acts of malice.
Al chet shechatanu lefanecha b'chozek yad, v'al chet shechatanu lefanecha b'zilzul horim umorim.
The ways we have wronged you by abusing our power, and the harm we have caused in your world through disrespect to parents and teachers.
Al chet shechatanu lefanecha b'yetzer hara, v'al chet shechatanu lefanecha b'kashiyut oref.
The ways we have wronged you by giving in to our hostile impulses, and harm we have caused in your world through inflexibility and stubbornness.
Al chet shechatanu lefanecha b'chachash uvchazav, v'al chet shechatanu lefanecha b'kalut rosh.
The ways we have wronged you through lies and deceit, and harm we have caused in your world by making light of serious matters.
Al chet shechatanu lefanecha b'siach shiftotenu, v'al chet shechatanu lefanecha Bitzarut Ain.
The ways we have wronged you in our routine conversations and harm we have caused in your world through envy.
Va'al kulam Eloha slichot, slach lanu, machal lanu, kaper lanu.
For all these failures of judgment and will, God of forgiveness, forgive us, pardon us, lead us to atonement.
Al chet shechatanu lefanecha bagalui uvasater, vel chet shechatanu lefanecha besinat chinam.
The ways we have wronged you openly and secretly, and harm we have caused in your world by hating without cause.
Al chet shechatanu lefanecha bifrikat ol, vel chet shechatanu lefanecha b'machal uvmishteh.
The ways we have wronged you by losing self-control, and harm we have caused in your world through consumption of food and drink.
Al chet shechatanu lefanecha begilui arayot, vel chet shechatanu lefanecha beimutz halev.
The ways we have wronged you through sexual immorality, and harm we have caused in your world by hardening our hearts.
Al chet shechatanu lefanecha b'neshech uvmarbit, vel chet shechatanu lefanecha b'masa uvmatan.
The ways we have wronged you through greed and exploitation, and harm we have caused in your world through dishonesty and business.
Al chet shechatanu lefanecha b'chirchur halev, vel chet shechatanu lefanecha b'rechilut.
The ways we have wronged you through our innermost thoughts, and harm we have caused in your world through gossip and rumor.
Al chet shechatanu lefanecha b'chapat shochad, vel chet shechatanu lefanecha b'chilul Hashem.
The ways we have wronged you by offering or accepting bribes, and harm we have caused in your world by profaning your name in public.
Va'al kulam Eloha slichot, slach lanu, machal lanu, kaper lanu.
For all these failures of judgment and will, God of forgiveness, forgive us.
Pardon us, lead us to atonement.
I invite you now to take some time for silent meditation. Feel free to use any of the words on pages 307 through 309, or you can also use the words of your own heart. We continue on page 310.
on 313. Let's read responsively every pair of lines. This prayer book does something unusual. We've beaten our breast against the wrongs we have done, but our prayer book editors wanted to also lift up the fact that we may have done goodness as well. And so we raised that in the theme of Hakarat HaTov on 313. Let us affirm the good we have done. Let us acknowledge our acts of healing and repair.
We have done by acting with self-restraint and self-control.
For the good we have done through acts of generosity and compassion. For the good we have done by honoring our parents with care and respect. For the good we have done through acts of forgiveness and reconciliation.
The good we have done by keeping promises.
For the good we have done through the work of our hands and by serving others.
We have done its preachers.
For the good we have done by housing the homeless, feeding the hungry, welcoming the stranger.
For the good we have done by acting with integrity and honesty.
For the good we have done through thoughtful and encouraging words.
For the good we have done by caring for our health and that of our loved ones.
For the good we have done by strengthening our Jewish community.
For the good we have done through acts of civic engagement and tikkun olam.
Let's all read together. All these have brought light and healing into the world. May these acts inspire us to renew our efforts in the year to come. My privilege to invite Donna Shapiro to our bima, the president of University Synagogue. Sounds good.
Shana Tova. It is my privilege to introduce the people who are sitting on our bima today. Starting on this side, Steve and Julie Bank, and closer to me, Adam and Emily Bold, Angel Castillo, Cantor Freilich, Rabbi Feinstein. On this side, we have Cantor Shapiro, Rabbi Simons, our rabbinic intern Lynette Herzog in the back, and in the front we have Michelle Schoenfeld, Gary Schoenfeld, Risa Davids, and Rabbi Stanley Davids. And I'd like to wish all of you a Gemar Chatima Tova. May you all be sealed in the book of life for a good and sweet year.
So it's my privilege to welcome to our bima Rabbi Stan Davids. Stan, in the rabbinic community and in the wider Jewish community of our country and in Israel, is really one of the great leaders of Reform Judaism. He's been the national president of our Association of Reform Zionists of America. He's the honorary life chair of the National Rabbinic Cabinet of Israel Bonds. He's a rabbi emeritus of Temple Emmanuel of Greater Atlanta. He's been on the board of the Jewish Agency of Israel. So when we make a pledge to the Federation or we make a donation that goes to Israel, it goes to the Jewish Agency, which then ferrets out how to allocate those funds. He is on the major allocator committee. He is on the executive of that World Zionist organization as well since 2004. But above all those things, he was my camp rabbi in 1970. And for that, I've always loved Stan, and it's my privilege to invite him to the bima to offer our words about Israel this morning. Okay.
Shana Tova.
Shana Tova.
You can't know what it's like for a retired rabbi to be able to speak in front of a congregation on Yom Kippur again. Whether this works well or not, I'm happy, so that's good. And also, Susan, where are you? There? This has been one of the most extraordinary days of my life. Not just because we heard a magnificent sermon, but because of the way we were placed on the bima, I could pretend that I was finally, after 50 years, invited to join a synagogue choir. So I was following your lead and pretending it was incomparable. Okay, enough of that. Oh, here we start. Shana Tova. It is an honor to be here representing the leadership of our congregation in our united, unequivocal support for the State of Israel. Just to be clear, I have drunk the Kool-Aid. Risa and I buy Israel bonds for each of our 8 grandchildren as their annual Hanukkah presents. I have been chair of the Israel Bonds International Rabbinic Cabinet. I have served on the campaign cabinet of the North American Campaign. I am a believer. I am an investor. Risa and I are passionate about Israel, which is why we became Israeli citizens and made Aliyah in 2004. We are passionate about Israel as being one of the 2 world centers of Jewish life in the 21st century. We are passionate about Israel as being an expression of the fulfillment of a 2,000-year-old dream. We are passionate about Israel because right now, our 15-year-old granddaughter has just arrived in Israel for a 3-month study program, and we are so jealous of that. I'm not blind to Israel's flaws and imperfections. On the contrary, I have committed my life to fighting against and to fixing those flaws and those imperfections. I am not blind to the torturous summer we have just gone through. As an obvious truth has become painfully clear, no 2 countries have identical national interests, not even the closest of allies. But with all of that, my passionate love for Israel grows more and more enduring with each passing year. Think about this. Dry, really interesting facts. Israel's population has just reached 8.4 million people. 8.4. 75% of whom are Jewish. Are we proud that Israel has over 6,000 startups and attracts more venture capital per person than any other country in the world? I'm going to teach you a Hebrew word, and we'll come to it as a responsive reading. When you want to say doggone right in Hebrew, you say betach. Let's hear it.
Betach.
Not good enough. One more time, we say betach. 1, 2, 3.
Betach.
Okay. So are we proud of those startups?
Betach.
Have you ever heard of Outbrain, Stylit, Nice, and Converse? Their founders served in 8200. Now, what is 8200? The Israeli Intelligence Corps, responsible for collecting signals and encryption and all other kinds of things which I do not understand at all. It is because of 8200 and the training that Israeli soldiers get there that they have gone on to become the founders of most of Israel's startups. What an interesting connection. Are we proud of that kind of education?
Betach.
Okay. Just last month, an Israeli internet merger created a $1.2 billion firm, new firm, employing 800 people, but touching the lives of over 1 billion people across the earth. That's what's going on in Israel right now. Do you feel proud about that?
Betach.
Did you know that currently American special ops units are being trained in Israel before they move on to Afghanistan and Iraq? Did you know that the American F-16 fighter plane has 700 original Israeli modifications? Those modifications manufactured in the United States bring billions of dollars of sales into the United States. And did you know that in this year, 2015, Israel is on track as providing to the United States more intelligence than all of the countries of the NATO organization combined. Did you know that? Feel good about it? Israel is now on the brink of energy independence. Israel didn't find oil, but we did find gas. Israel today is leading the world in desalination. Israel, a place I remember from the 70s and 80s when there were tremendous water shortages, Israel will now begin exporting Israel is exporting water. I'll say that again because it sounds so weird. Israel will be exporting water, and Prime Minister Netanyahu and Governor Jerry Brown have met and signed an agreement. Israel will soon be exporting water technology to California. I know it's late, but it's good, right? Are we proud of this? Israel has provided humanitarian aid in recent years to more than 30 countries and is operating long-term programs in Haiti, Liberia, Sierra Leone, Uganda, Kenya, South Sudan, Jordan, Iraq, Nepal, Myanmar, and the Philippines. Wow! Are we proud? This is where we come in. The boycott, divestment, and sanctions movement, BDS, is growing at an exponential rate all across the globe, threatening to throttle, first of all, Israel's economy, then its stability, and then its very existence. Of all things, Reykjavik, capital of Iceland, a few weeks ago, decided to boycott all Israeli products. Later, the government of Iceland reminded Reykjavik that it's part of a country. They can't do that. Okay. But they tried. My friends, the BDS movement is strong, growing stronger, and in the coming year will be even stronger on our campuses, across this country, and all across the world. The worst of BDS is yet to come. Only we can keep Israel's economy resilient. And Israel bonds is the way we can do it. For all the hand-wringing, for all the complaining, for all the high-level negotiations, with Israel bonds we can guarantee the resiliency of the Israeli economy. Listen, U.S. government pays attention to the level of Jewish participation in programs of support of Israel. Right now, 300,000 people currently hold Israel bonds. Larger numbers. Israel bonds was established in 1951. Since 51, $40 billion in investments, not gifts, investments have been made in Israel through bonds. This year, with your help this morning, this year, with your help this afternoon, Israel is on track for selling $1.1 billion in Israel bonds this year alone. The American Jewish community has gone through a wrenching debate, but the Israel bonds program stands above and apart from that debate. It is a positive, proactive, non-political way to help the Jewish state fight off the growing threats to its borders and to its economy. No political parties, no social agendas, just we, the Jewish people, pulling together and saying, we will not tolerate economic constrictions on the life of the state of Israel. Here's the bottom line. I know that you share our passion. But now, this morning, I'm going to ask some of you to continue a habit, and I'm going to ask others of you to feel caring enough to change a habit. Those of you who buy Israel bonds each year here at University Synagogue, please take out the pledge cards now. Fold the tabs over now. Do it right now. Those of you who have not recently or who have never bought an Israel bond, the money is critical, the numbers of participants more critical. If you've never bought a bond, fold over the lowest number tab. Don't tell anyone I said that. Fold over the lowest number tab, fold it over, purchase a bond. Be part of the process. Step forward. Enlist in the battle against BDS, against delegitimization, against anti-Semitism masquerading as anti-Zionism. Stand with Israel. Make Israel strong, especially now. Apple CEO Tim Cook just visited Israel to open an Apple R&D center in Herzliya. So if you don't want to stand with me, stand with Apple and Tim Cook. Stand with Israel. Am Yisrael Chai. That is not a question. It's a promise. And I ask you one last time this Yom Kippur. Are we going to keep that promise? Not a good enough response. That's scary. One more time, I'll go back a line. Are we going to keep that promise? Okay, thank you. Please fold over the tabs. New people who do so, especially welcome. Those who are continuing supporters, thank God for your efforts. Ushers picking up the cards. Have an easy fast, my friends.
To
want to thank Rabbi Stan Davids. I want to thank our wonderful choir under Susan's direction, and thank Cantor Shapiro and Cantor Freilich for leading us with music this morning. And last night, the beautiful cello of Dennis Karmazin. It's our custom, friends, for those of you who are, shall we say, well-versed in synagogue history, we don't have a family service now. So we'll have a short break in a little bit, and then we'll continue with our afternoon service at 2:30, and 2:30 until it concludes. Afternoon flows into Yizkor. Our memorial time flows into the concluding service. And if you have never been to our Havdalah, right prior to our synagogue breakfast that's sponsored by Sisterhood, if you have not been to that Havdalah, where we are all here singing together, arm in arm, it is really something extraordinary to feel and to be a part of, and I hope that you will consider joining us for that final shofar blast and our extraordinary time. We have sova bags for you to fill up so that you can help feed the hungry in our area. Rabbi Davids will be leading a breakout on the theme of arguing. And on that theme of arguing, it's if we have an opportunity to argue, how are we going to argue? What are we arguing about? How do we argue in a civil fashion? So Rabbi Davids will be leading that in our Gray Family Chapel to my left and your right in about 10 minutes. There's a community information table, lots of stuff out there, calendars from everyone who printed them, all for your walls at home. Sukkot begins Sunday night. We have a dinner here at the synagogue. We'd be happy to take your reservation. Simchat Torah a week later. A lot of dynamic stuff happening at the temple. Please take a look in here. Be part of all we do. Let's turn, friends, to page 319 as we conclude our morning together. If you want to pass time here and remain in the sanctuary, Yuval Ron, our amazing oud player, Yuval on oud and Ava on drum are the core with Cantor Shapiro of our monthly Shabbat Zimra. Yuval will be here on the oud playing meditative music if you'd like to remain in the sanctuary during this break period. 319. In humble linen garments, the priests once stood at the altar. So we stand now in humility to lift up our offering to you. It is written in the Torah, each morning the Kohen shall take up the ashes left from the night's offering and remove them from the altar. Thus begins the service of a new day. And our sages teach, clear away the debris of the past, begin anew. Complacency and despair are the enemies of hope. Each day summons us to start again. The fire on the altar must never die out. Tend it with care. Keep the sacred flame alive. So also should the Spirit be sustained and preserved. This day we nourish ourselves with Torah and prayer, and tomorrow we return to the world. Together, friends, our energies replenished, our commitments renewed. Tomorrow we go forth to serve the Most High. In small ways, in all ways, let us align ourselves with the good, our mind and hearts and hands devoted to tikkun. In humility, we stand here this day, hoping to lift up our lives and persevere through life's trials. Let us gain strength from one another. Let us gain strength from the tradition we share. Shalom. Yom Kippur will continue at 2:30.